everyone. Good evening. There. So we're both live. We're both live on Facebook and on YouTube. Okay, so we'd like to introduce ourselves. I'm Ginger. I'm one of the co-founders of Taxumo. And obviously, because we are in the Taxumo page, why am I introducing myself? Okay, and you are?
I'm EJ, and I am one of the co-founders as well of Taxumo. So, hi everyone.
Hi! So, kanina we decided to create a lot of content for you guys. So, this is one of our initiatives. This is called Tax Tip Tuesdays. So, every Tuesday, we're going to share a little bit of information about taxes.
Yep.
Such a fun topic.
On your long drive home from work, if you're bored, then this is the best way to get entertained. Talk about taxes, diba?
Yes.
Yun,
okay.
yes.
So, for today, and usually for Tax Tip Tuesdays, we'll be answering just a question, just one question. So, it's sort of like tidbits of information that we share. No?
Right.
Okay. So, today, what we're going to discuss is what are the advantages. Actually, this is not about taxation. No? Our topic for today is more about like business structure. So, what are the advantages of registering as a sole proprietorship here in the Philippines? So, sige, EJ, baka kaya mo like start the conversation.
Sige, isahin natin. So I think the most obvious in terms of taxes is that the government does give a lot of incentives to small businesses and sole props and individuals in particular. They get a lot of little perks for the government. The government is trying to make things easy for them, and because they want them to be successful in their business. In fairness to the government, so there's a lot of things that help them do so. No, for example, if you are registered as an individual, then you have access to what's called the 8% income tax rate. It's only available to individuals, and only individuals, in this case, earning below 3M. So if you register as a corporation, you don't have access to that. What is the 8% flat income tax rate? Basically, it makes your income tax very easy to compute. Because before, you had to look at the table and you had to look at, what bracket you fall under. There's a certain minimum value that you pay plus a certain percentage of an amount above a certain amount. So instead of going through that, you basically just say, okay, what's my gross income? Multiply that by 8%. That's my due. So it makes it very, very easy for individuals. And the good thing also, a bonus of that is that you are exempted from having to give, for example, audited financial statements and stuff like that. No? So it compliance is a lot easier for individuals in that sense.
Yeah. And siguro to add to that, in terms of frequency, less frequently than natin babayaran, no? Or should I say submit tax forms? Kasi like if you're a corporation or if you have a partnership, there are a lot more parang tax forms that you need to file and to submit. Usually, this will be parang more monthly. Well, marami compliance. Hindi lang taxes but you have other government agencies that you need to deal with also, and you have to submit also a lot of things to the SEC, etc. So those are parang yun yung nakikita kong advantage also when it comes to like choosing sole proprietor versus a corporation. Yeah. Pero question, I think we get this a lot, no? Kung sole prop ako, can I also employ individuals?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Kasi some people, ask the question. Kasi diba, when you talk about sole proprietorship, people think that obviously sole, so mag-isa ka lang. Pero can I basically, employ people? Yes.
So yes, short answer, yes. Basically what you're saying is that you are the sole owner of the business. So it doesn't mean that you can't employ other people. You can employ other people. It's just that, as opposed to a corporation where you can have multiple shareholders, or as opposed to a partnership where there's at least two of you, then, a sole prop, ikaw lang yung may-ari. So that makes it that's one of the reasons why, as Ginger said, there's a lot less requirements that you have to comply with. For example, no, every time you have to do something, let's say with a bank, you have to transact with a bank. If you're a corporation, like every little move you have to make,
A board resolution.
you need a board resolution, a secretary certificate. It's such a hassle, no? But if you're sole prop, because you're the only owner, your request is, the only thing that matters. So really, it's a lot easier for you that way. And when Ginger said a while ago about compliance with other government agencies, that's true, because if you are registered as a corporation, then there's a lot of requirements that the SEC asks you to submit. Aside from what the BIR submissions, no, aside from the submissions you do to the BIR, you also have to submit other things to the SEC, which is, a lot of work also. Having said that, we do know a lot of people who started out as a corporation on the get-go, and the challenge was that there was a lot of compliance that they needed to comply with, and they had to get a service provider that unfortunately they couldn't really, service provider can't really devote as much time as the business would require. So what happened was, the maraming lapses, and eventually parang sinasara na lang nila because there's so many penalties, and the easiest thing is just to start from scratch, no? So my philosophy in this is really just do things just in time. When you need to do things, then just do just enough. And then you can grow it later.
Yeah.
If you want to go corp later because you're going to get shareholders later, you're going to get people to invest later, then then convert to corp. There's nothing stopping you from doing that naman. Admittedly, there's additional cost because you have to pay for another registration, but at least you're not killing yourself with compliance. And honestly, running a business is already a lot of work in itself.
Yeah.
Try to reduce a lot of that work as much as you can.
Yung isang thing na parang tinatanong din sa atin kasi, yung risk. Kasi diba, as a sole prop, mas malaki daw yung risk, diba? And then, kaya ka magko-corp, it's because yung risk kasi basically for corporations are less, diba? Lesser because it's a separate entity. Ano yung thoughts mo on that naman?
Yeah, so that's true. Risk-wise, if you have a corporation, you're protected. Or there's something called the corporate veil. No, basically the assets and the ari-arian of the shareholders are separate from the assets of the corporation. And on the flip side, if you're sole prop, then you are, you're your company. Basically, you're your corporation.
Yeah.
You're your own thing. No?
Even your TIN, kasi diba, when you register, it's your personal TIN that's used for sole proprietorship.
Exactly. So you don't really have a separate thing that separates you from being an individual. Having said that, that's something you do need to consider. Because liability-wise, you are personally liable if you're a sole prop. But having said that, that the chances of that happening is very low, honestly. Nahahabulin yung personal assets mo because of, having said that, it's not impossible, that can happen.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to balance. Kasi on the flip side, as I said, you are not liable na, there's no personal liability, but there's a lot of compliance. So, that's something you have to balance. Those are two things you have to balance, basically.
And I think I like what you said earlier, na if you're still starting or growing your business, or if you're not too sure on the onset of creating the business, I think ako personally also, mag-sole prop ka muna and then test the idea, kasi it's easier to later on just stop the business if you're just sole prop, kasi wala nang mga sign pa ng mga co-founders mo or incorporators, diba? So, and then if you grow later on, if your business grows bigger and you earn more, that's when you jump into corporation and possibly partnership.
Yeah.
Partnership.
One other thing that a lot of people don't know, you can actually also register as a professional. So people think that doctor lang pwede mag-professional or lawyers. There's such a thing as a non-licensed professional. And for example, if you're a work from home consultant, for example, you're providing virtual assistance services from home, you can actually register as a professional. The reason why it's a lot easier is because, number one,
apply.
A department you essentially have to interact with is really just the BIR.
Yes.
Depending on the municipality, you might need to get what's called an occupational tax receipt from your LGU. But that's something you do at the very start, and then after that, it's something that's under that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Do you renew that every
Yung
year
occupational
also?
tax receipt, yun hindi na. Parang that's just one time.
Oh.
Yeah.
For professionals, kasi they need a new one like that
Oo.
every time they do the PRC
Yung
license.
PRC license, yes. Pero sa occupational, I think just once lang naman.
Yeah.
And yun nga, so parang, not a lot of people know that also. Lalo na yung mga freelancers, we have a lot of people who work from home, diba? Digital workers, working online, or even yung mga insurance agents natin dyan, insurance agents, yung mga sales agents. So all of these people, or all of you guys who are part of that, you fall under this professional category. So when you pay your taxes, it's actually under you being a professional, not a sole prop, not a business per se. But you're still considered, this profession is considered a business.
Yes, so it depends how you treat it naman eh. I mean, if
we're just
you're
talking
gonna
about
take
like
it seriously, then
categories.
you can apply all of the business knowledge that you can gain from an MBA basically to whatever it is you're doing. It's really up to you.
Yes. Okay, so to end this, we actually have a new, since actually we started this kasi birthday namin. This is our birthday month, no? It's the anniversary of Taxumo this September. So as you've noticed, for those na check out the pricing page namin. If you've seen our pricing page, we've simplified our packages, no? So if you're not sure kung ano ba dapat yung plan na kukain mo or ano ba yung taxes na babayaran mo, we've already segmented it into 3 very simple categories. So the first is professional, the second is micro businesses, and the third category is small and medium businesses. So check out our pricing page. We've simplified it. Tapos, if may questions pa rin kayo, don't worry. We have a chat box in our page, taxumo.com. Just click on the chat box on the lower right portion of the page and then chat with us. So we will reply to your inquiries. Also, since we're talking about registration, we also have a workshop on one-person corporation together with Manila Workshops. So Taxumo and Manila Workshops and Globe My Business has this workshop on October 5, if I'm not mistaken. Check out Manila Workshops and you can also register there.
Yes, if you want to know how to set up a corporation na ikaw lang,
yes,
that's possible right now because basically the government removed the minimum 5 people requirement for having a corporation. So it makes it a lot easier. But there are some rules if you are a one-person corp. No? So that's something you also have to consider.
Yeah, so we'll all learn about it on October 5. So for you guys who have other questions about taxes, business registration, feel free to drop a message so that yun naman yung sasagutin namin or that's what we'll discuss on our succeeding Tax Tip Tuesdays. So,
and if you have other ideas for the other days of the week, then please, yes, feel free to drop them in the comment section, and we'll be happy to consider them definitely.
Yes. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching us.
All right,
Bye.
have a good one. Bye.